Tonight on Evening. Scoop, there it is. How a small-town ice cream shop with a playful name is thriving in these tough times.
Here I am, baby. Oh.
The Northwest Trio keeping the soulful sounds of Motown alive.
Hey folks, I'm Chef Makini Howell, and today we are making something I like to call Tarjay tofu.
Well, welcome to Evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Poe Russell, coming to you tonight from this great new spot, relatively new spot in Seattle's Central District. It's called the Central Cafe and Juice Bar. We'll tell you more about this amazing place in just a few minutes. But first, musicians may not be able to have shows in the traditional sense right now, but there's one talented trio trying to keep one of music's best eras alive. Cherise, Elizabeth, and Rachel make up the Jewel Tones. A group inspired by the legendary and soulful sounds of Motown.
Here I am, baby. Oh, signs in the river, I'm yours.
We're kind of fashioned after the Supremes, the girl groups of the 1960s.
We are all three classically trained opera singers. We worked to fine-tune this Motown sound more too, and it's been so fun.
The group started performing together in 2019 and found instant fans.
And we had a lot of families. We actually had a mom come up to us and say, "Oh my gosh, I've been introducing my kid to Motown and I can't believe we got to hear it live."
But like most performing artists, they lost all of their gigs booked for 2020 because of COVID.
There's not only the lost wages that comes from losing those opportunities to perform, but also having an opportunity to engage with our community in this work that we find so meaningful.
And while there's nothing that can replace the experience of a live show, the Jewel Tones are part of a national effort to at least offer some nostalgia.
I'm so fancy, you already know.
The Jewel Tones teamed up with 17 other all-female vintage singing groups from 12 states across the country to make one music video.
Calling out around the world, are you ready for a brand new beat? Watching the screen, hoping her phone's gonna ring.
There's even another Seattle vintage group feature, the Memphis Bells. The hope is that this will remind people of the music and its value, enough that they are willing to offer support.
We were the first to stop our work because of COVID, and we might be the last to return. And so I just want to make everyone aware that this has impacted a lot of us, and it's been really hard.
Rachel is a part-time nurse, and the other Jewel Tones were working as full-time performers. And as hard as it's been, they say it's moments like these that provide some hope.
I'm so thankful for this interview because it reminds us that we are performers. Even though we're not able to do that right now, we are still singers. That's still who we are.
And we can't wait for them to return to their proper place.
On that midnight train to Georgia. Georgia. Woo-hoo. I'd rather live in this world than live without him.
If you would like more information on how to donate to those vintage groups featured, just head to king5evening.com. And you'll want to stay with us because at the end of the show, the Jewel Tones are going to perform Ain't No Mountain High Enough just for us. So what's a business major to do after college graduation and the economy isn't exactly roaring? Well, Saint takes us to Ording for one creative and ice-cold solution.
Every day we make up the batter and cook it up and make them fresh for the customers.
When the coronavirus forced Grand Canyon University to send Amber Fairbanks home her senior year, the business management major immediately began managing a business, a walk-up ice cream shop in Ording called Scoop. There it is.
Hey, whoop, there it is, Hitman.
If you were around in 1993, you probably get the reference.
The parents really enjoy it, the kids have no idea.
Here, in a space she says is smaller than her bedroom, Amber is learning more than just how to make ice cream sandwiches. She's making sales, managing distribution.
What do you say?
marketing on social media, and building a really strong right arm by scooping all that pumpkin spice ice cream.
I took everything that I learned at GCU and brought it here, and it's just nice to be able to be creative and to show it to the community and show like all this hard work that we've done.
Yeah, we kind of come here a lot.
Yeah.
It didn't take long for Emma Boynton and Ellie Capron to become regular customers.
It's good. I got the
really
espresso explosion, and I love coffee ice cream, so you can't go wrong.
And I got the pumpkin spice, so it's like seasonal, fits in with the fall. It's really good.
Also really good, having an ice cream shop across the street from a busy playground. Location is everything. So, if you're looking for a small business success story,
Have a good one.
I got the scoop. There it is.
Do you get the reference?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We're not that young.
Scoop. Scoop. Scoop.
Oh, don't you just love that story? Amber plans to keep Scoop There It Is. I just love saying that. Amber plans to keep Scoop There It Is going through the winter months by offering pints for pickup. Her black licorice ice cream is apparently a big seller. So who'd have thunk it? You know, 2020 marks the 20th year of King 5's Home Team Harvest, the largest annual food drive in the state. Last year, our community raised nearly 8 million meals for local families. With the pandemic, the need is greater than ever. So our goal this year is to raise 20 million meals. You can help us reach that goal by going to king5.com/hometeamharvest to donate cash. You can also buy virtual hunger bags at local Safeway and Albertson stores. You can buy a bag for $5, $10, or $12. And remember, every donation provides healthy, culturally appropriate food to children, seniors, veterans, and families throughout Washington.
Coming up, Kim talks to Diane Lane about her new movie, Let Him Go. But up next, Chef McKinney Howell gets tasty with things she found at Target. Portions of Evening are sponsored by Safeway.
Well, welcome back to the show. We're so glad that you're with us tonight. I'm coming to you from Seattle's Central District at this place that just opened in January. It's called the Central Cafe and Juice Bar. And as you can see, I'm in this great covered space. It's warm, so you can use it any time of the year. And the elephant in the room is that I'm surrounded by a bunch of food, right? Take a look at what they have to offer. These are their egg bites. Then they have a vegan breakfast burrito and then a turkey sausage burrito. Also some amazing desserts. This is the savory asparagus bread pudding. And then next to it, the pecan caramel bread pudding. And then I love brownies. This is their double chocolate brownie with cashews. On their lunch menu, you can see they have the traditional turkey pesto sandwich, but then they have a lot of vegan options here. So the vegan black bean chili, the vegan chicken salad wrap, and then their vegan mac and cheese. So a lot to offer here on the food menu, but they also sell some pretty amazing drinks. They are a juice bar, so they have all kinds of juices, beet, fresh pressed apple. I'm drinking the Tropical Breeze juice. But I talked to the owner, Bridgette, and she said what makes her most proud about this cafe is the community.
It has to offer someone knowing your name, you know, and what you like to drink, and conversation about life and things like that. And we've also recently got our alcohol license. So every Friday we're open till 8 p.m. and we serve cocktails and have a wonderful happy hour menu.
Well, Bridgette has such great energy, and she also has great drinks. This is the lavender lemonade, so there's gin in this in addition to the lemon lavender flavor. And this is what she's calling the Central Cider. It's a fall drink, so it has the fresh pressed apple, it has lemon, it has whiskey and cinnamon. It looks amazing. Well, speaking of food, tofu is one of those things that you can find just about anywhere now. And Chef McKinney Howell recently found some when she wasn't looking for it and decided to make a meal out of it. So here she is in McKinney's kitchen.
Hey folks, so I was at Target the other day, and I was looking for a gift for my nephew, and I stumbled into their food department, and it's huge. And I found what I'm calling Target tofu. So what this is, it's a seasoned tofu, and I was wondering, how good is it? So we're gonna find out today. My pan is a little bit hot, so I'm gonna start off with a little bit of onion. Oh, sizzle. And then we're gonna put this tofu in here, right along with the onion. Now, what I want is for this tofu to cook down and dry out just a little bit. I would say you want to cook this about 5 or 10 minutes. Let's cook it, let's put a top on it, and then we'll see what it's gonna look like when it's done. Okay, folks, it's been about 10 minutes. Let's take a look. So I like my tofu nice and crispy. So I cooked it a little bit longer. Now, we're gonna add in the tomato, and it should just suck up the flavor now. A little bit of tomato paste. It's getting a little thick, so you can add in some veggie stock. I'm just gonna add in a little bit of water and coconut milk to mine. I'm gonna put the cilantro in with it to simmer with it. I don't want it to just be a garnish. I wanna actually taste it in the dish. While this is cooking down, let's talk about the rice. I made this coconut turmeric rice. This is so simple. You just put a tiny bit of turmeric in your water and 2 tablespoons of coconut milk, and you have this delicious coconut rice. All right, so let's check on this. Oh, that's delicious. It's like a Target makeover. It's already really spicy. The tofu has a lot of spice in it, but if you want a little extra heat, add a little bit of this. It's harissa. It's a North African spice that's already in the tofu. Goes really well with all the flavors. So let's go ahead and plate it up. We are gonna attempt an Instagrammable plate here. Let's get a little rice on here. And, oh, this is delicious. So I think that you're gonna wanna eat all of this as soon as you taste it. So I'm gonna add a little cilantro on top just to finish it. So there you have it, folks. Tarjay tofu with a coconut turmeric rice. Enjoy.
Well, thanks, Makini, for that Tarjay recipe. You can head to king5evening.com. Well, there's a new movie coming out that is reuniting a great Hollywood couple, Kevin Costner and Diane Lane. It's called Let Him Go, and it is a thriller set in mid-century Montana. Here's Kim with the preview.
Let Him Go may be one of the quietest thrillers you ever watch, with stunning scenery, true love, and a dark custody battle waged outside the courts.
There should be a disclaimer at the beginning that if you're a mom, you're gonna feel some things.
That's true. There are 3 mothers in this story, and it's quite a conundrum.
Oscar nominee Diane Lane is one of them. Devastated by the death of her adult son, she's determined to protect her grandson from his new stepfather. Her only support is her ex-sheriff husband.
Beautiful and fabulous and amazing Kevin Costner.
That's the gal for me.
Much of their dialogue is unspoken, transmitted in glances.
Was that rehearsed? Is that just chemistry?
Long-term relationships do have massive amounts of communication that are not verbal. Yeah, and we did have chemistry, and we did have a history of being married before from 2 other films, Kevin and I.
But their foe is a formidable one, the stepfather's mother, played by British actress Leslie Manville.
This woman, this character, this real bad mama from North Dakota, all I was thinking was, I can't wait to play this woman.
My boy doesn't have to answer to you.
And we don't have to answer to you.
When the 2 families finally converge, things get crazy.
When you finished shooting some of those scenes, would you actually feel mad at Kevin and Diane, or would you guys need to hug, or how do you get yourself out of that?
When you're in character, but when you're not, it's done. So between takes, we'd sit off the stage, and Kevin got very fond of letting me share his headphones, and he'd play me his music of his band.
Come with us. No, he'd kill me. Him and his mother.
Ultimately, Let Him Go is a story of loss, grief, and the determination to right wrongs.
This is a tough film, for sure, but I think that it's fighting for kindness. Right? I think that's kind of the point.
You hit your wife?
A suspenseful, thoughtful, unexpected thriller that will keep you engaged until the very end.
Well, thanks, Kim. Let Him Go was rated R. Kim said she thought it was really good, standout performances, and suspenseful. It opens in theaters tomorrow, and if you go, just don't forget to mask up. Now, let's go to Jim with a look at what's on this week.
Aren't you a little overdressed for the beach?
Aren't you a little underdressed for an officer?
It's November, so we can talk about Christmas rom-com movies, right? Operation Christmas Drop follows a political aide sent to Guam who falls for a big-hearted Air Force pilot while looking to shut down his tropical base and its airborne Christmas tradition. The movie is now available on Netflix.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And finally, rock and roll's biggest night will be very different this year. The in-person Hall of Fame induction ceremony was canceled, so like many other events, they're going virtual. You can watch this year's 8 inductees get into the hall Saturday night on HBO.
Coming up, see how this Seattle Seahawk began working with March of Dimes the day he was born.
Well, welcome back to the show. The Seahawks support a lot of great causes in our area, but there's one player that has a special connection to a nonprofit, and it started the day he was born. Here's Jim.
Chances are you've heard of the March of Dimes, from funding the polio vaccine in 1955 to helping moms through their pregnancy journey. The nonprofit has helped millions of mothers and babies throughout the years, including one of our Seahawks.
I got involved with the March of Dimes when the day I was born, a month early. I spent 10 days in the NICU in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
While he's a 6'3", 250-pound long snapper now, Tyler Ott was actually born premature.
My family's my parents have gone through it. They've firsthand experienced not being able to hold me after I was born, when I was in the NICU, not take me home right away.
His mom's experience led her to discover the March of Dimes, and in turn, Tyler has become a lifelong advocate.
Had been involved, from grade school, middle school, and then into high school, and just kind of kept supporting it.
Now Tyler does the Points for Preemies pledge, giving money for every Seahawks point kicked. So far, he's helped raise almost $40,000 in the past 3 years for the March of Dimes.
Families are still having children. Babies are being born premature, and their babies are still being born with birth defects, so the fight can't stop, even though maybe we've kind of paused our lives during this time.
And the March of Dimes isn't stopping their fight.
We are shifting from having a lot of our programming in the hospitals from face-to-face to virtual.
Thanks to their sponsor, Primera, they've grown their supportive pregnancy care program across Washington state to areas Christina calls a healthcare desert.
It's really expanded our outreach and the ability to connect with women who aren't necessarily in an urban community.
They're also working to fight against racial bias in the healthcare system to make sure all moms receive the treatment they need. And now that Tyler Ott is a dad himself, the work of the March of Dimes means even more.
We're a prime example, my wife and I, of people are still having babies during quarantine and lockdown. So the March of Dimes job isn't being put on pause right now because of COVID.
Well, thanks, Jim. The March of Dimes has a Facebook Live every month so that they can discuss the challenges that mothers might be facing during a pandemic. If you would like more information, head to king5evening.com.
Still ahead, the smooth Motown sounds of the Jewel Tones.
To keep me from getting to you, babe.
Portions of Evening are sponsored by Primera Blue Cross.
Well, it is almost time for us to say goodbye, but first we want to thank the Central Cafe and Juice Bar in Seattle. Such a great spot in this beautiful outdoor area that's covered. Awesome. We're going to leave you with how we started, a performance from the Jewel Tones, Ain't No Mountain High Enough. And if you want to see the entire performance, head to the King 5 Evening Facebook page. Have a great night. Bye.
My love is alive.